Yeah, that's no joke.
Yeah, I see what scares me is I see myself slowly turning into my parents.
Yeah, just like the commercial says.
Okay, it is 7:07. We are going to begin the Tiffin City Council meeting of Monday, July 6th, 2026. The invocation and pledge of allegiance will be led by Councilmember Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. Please bow your heads with me. Dear Heavenly Father, as we continue to celebrate America's 250th birthday, we pause with grateful hearts of thank you for the gift of this nation, and we give thanks for the brave men and women who have sacrificed to protect America and its freedoms. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'll now ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Jones.
Here.
Councilmember Reesner.
Here.
Councilmember Snee.
Here.
Councilmember Dougherty.
Here.
Councilmember Decker.
Here.
Councilmember Hayes.
Here.
And Councilmember Horniman.
Here.
Thank you. Let the record show 7 of 7 council members are present. Minutes for the July 15th, 2026 regular and committee of the whole meetings were distributed. Are there any corrections? Okay, seeing none, minutes will be approved as distributed. We are now under committee reports. Finance Committee, Councilmember Reesner.
No report, Mr. President.
Thank you. Law and Community Planning, Councilmember Dougherty.
No report, Mr. President.
Materials and Equipment, Councilmember Jones.
No report, Mr. President.
Personnel and Labor Relations, Councilmember Decker.
I do have a report, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Personnel and Labor Committee meeting was held on Monday, June 22nd in Council Chambers. Council members Ashley Decker, Kyle Dougherty, and John Hayes were present. Also, council members Aaron Jones, Kevin Reesner, Dennis Snee, Mayor Lee Wilkinson, Director of Law Zach Fowler, and City Administrator Nick Dutro. The purpose was to discuss Mayor's request for legislation 2626, fire rescue, repeal of residency requirements. Administrator Dutro began explaining that Ohio law removed residency requirements for all city employees, but it carves out an exception for emergency responders to ensure adequate response time. And it can allow cities to require employees to live in the county or an adjoining county. Tiffin currently has a modified rule of a 45-mile radius, but the chief has asked to do away with it to get more folks to apply. Chief Chappell explained that the rule used to be that firefighters had to live in a local area code, so they didn't have long-distance phone calls, but that transitioned when the state changed. In 2015, council amended both the fire and police regulations to include a residency requirement for police and fire to live in Tiffin or to live in Seneca County or an adjoining county. In 2019, council amended the requirement to allow firefighters to move to a 45-mile radius. And then in 2023, it was amended again to allow more time for compliance. The chief stated that in reality, no restrictions make the most sense. Most departments have fully eliminated this requirement. He discussed recalls, which is when an off-duty firefighter gets called back to work during an emergency. He said there currently is nothing that requires an off-duty member to respond on a recall, and over half the department has not responded on a recall. So the department relies heavily on mutual aid. Councilmember Reesner asked if this would affect volunteer departments, and the chief responded that he does not believe it would be affected. The fire staff is currently fully staffed, and the chief also mentioned that dozens of area fire departments have removed the requirement completely, and he lists quite a few, including Findlay, Fremont, Marion, Ashland, Ontario, Perrysburg, Sylvania, and many more. A motion was made to repeal the residency requirement, and it passed 3-0. And that is it.
Thank you. Any questions on that report? Okay. Recreation and Public Property, Councilmember Snee.
No report at this time.
Thank you. Streets, Sidewalks, and Sewers, Councilmember Reesner.
Yeah, there's a report. Let me read.
Yes, that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, sir, Mr. President. A meeting was held, City Chambers, June 22nd, 2026. The purpose of this meeting was to discuss Mayor's request for legislation 2026-25, signal improvements at Teakwood Drive and West Market Street. Mayor's request 2026-27, Shawn Avenue and 2nd Avenue sewer replacement project. Attending were committee members John Hayes, Dennis Snee, Aaron Jones, Kevin Reesner. Also attending was Mayor Lee Wilkinson, Law Director Zachary Fowler, City Administrator Nick Dutrell, City Engineer Matt Watson, Public Works Superintendent Brandon Berner, and Council Member Kyle Daugherty. Councilman Hayes called the meeting to order at 5:15. Watson explained the proposed improvements at the intersection, including protected left turns at West Market Street. Watson asked for a quick approval time due to the consultant authorization deadline of August 15th. Reesner motioned to have the law director draft legislation authorizing West Market Street and Teakwood Drive traffic signal improvement project. Snee seconded the motion, and the motion passed 4-0. Next, Brandon Berner explained the necessity behind Shawn Avenue and 2nd Avenue sewer replacement project. The request in front of the committee was for bidding and entering into a construction contract, as the funding was already in place. Reesner motioned the law director to draft legislation for authorizing the Shawn Avenue and 2nd Avenue sewer project. Jones seconded the motion, and the motion passed 4-0. With no further business, the meeting adjourned at 5:29 p.m.
Thank you. Any questions on that report? Okay, Economic Development and Downtown Planning, Councilmember Horniman.
No report, Mr. President.
Thank you. I'd like to announce a Committee of the Whole meeting on Monday, July 20th at 6 p.m. in Council Chambers. We will be discussing Mayor's request for legislation number 26-28. This is the authorization to issue a request for proposals for the sale and development of a city-owned real estate adjacent to City Lot 6. Anyone else see a need to schedule a different Committee of the Whole? Okay, great. We are now under reports of the officers. His Honor, Mayor Lee Wilkinson.
Thank you, Mr. President. So today is July 6th, 2 days after July 4th. Happy Independence Day. So I hope all of you are out there at the park enjoying the fireworks. Thanks to Parks and Rec for putting on a great show with fireworks, the Wally and the Beeves, and all the extra hours that they put in cleaning up afterwards that a lot of people just don't know about. You go out there the next day, looks like nothing ever happened. Also, thanks to the police and fire departments for keeping us all safe and keeping things organized and helping out with the traffic. That was great. Road work, Sandusky Street project, they're still at Six's Corners, so weather dependent. They'll be there for another 2 weeks, I believe. And then the 2026 street paving, regular street paving, will be on Main Street next week, of course, weather permitting. Public Works will be getting to those log jam removals in the next couple of weeks, weather dependent, of course. And this week's activities, on this Thursday night, there's Thursday Night Tunes with No Eileen at the East Green Amphitheater. But now I would like to introduce Chief Pauly from the Police Department to present an award.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thanks, members of council. I appreciate the time tonight. Sergeant Jared Watson, will you stand over here for me, please? Tonight, it is my privilege to recognize Sergeant Jared Watson with the Tiffin Police Department's Life-Saving Award for his extraordinary actions on June 1st, 2026. On that evening, Tiffin police officers responded to a report involving a 13-year-old juvenile who was experiencing severe mental health crisis. Information provided by a crisis hotline worker indicated that the juvenile was suicidal, had a handgun pointed at his head, and had expressed intention to take his own life. Officers secured the scene. Additional information was received that the juvenile stated he would harm himself if police did not leave the area. The hotline worker also reported hearing the sound, what sounded like a firearm being manipulated in the background, further elevating the urgency of the situation. After the juvenile disconnected with the crisis hotline, Sergeant Watson was able to establish telephone contact with him. Over the next 30 minutes, Sergeant Watson demonstrated exceptional patience, professionalism, compassion, and crisis intervention skills. He quickly built trust and rapport with the juvenile, reassuring him, listening to him, and guiding him through an incredibly difficult moment. Through calm communication and genuine concern for the juvenile's well-being, Sergeant Watson ultimately convinced him to put down the weapon, exit the residence, and accept the help he desperately needed. The juvenile surrendered peacefully and was taken into protective custody without incident. Sergeant Watson then personally transported him to the hospital and continued providing support and reassurance throughout the process. Following the incident, officers located a handgun inside the residence with a round chambered in the position where it appeared to have been recently set down. Evidence gathered at the scene confirmed the juvenile had immediate access to a loaded firearm and was at imminent risk of carrying out his threats. The successful resolution of this incident was not the result of chance. It was the direct result of Sergeant Watson's training, experience, communication skills, and unwavering commitment to preserving life. Because of his actions, a young man who was facing a moment of profound crisis was given the opportunity to receive help, begin healing, and continue living. Sergeant Watson's conduct reflects the very best of the Tiffin Police Department and exemplifies our commitment to service, compassion, and the protection of life. It is therefore my honor to present to Sergeant Watson with the Tiffin Police Department's Life-Saving Award, his second award for saving the life of another. Congratulations and well done, Jared. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you, Sergeant Watson.
I appreciate it. I appreciate the chief's words. And I have my name on this certificate, but there were, I don't know, 10 other guys that were out there that without them, it was a team. So it was great. The team that I work with. So thank you very much.
Very good.
We appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Okay, continuing with my report, I'd like to introduce Jill Lindhorst, the Director of Finance, to give us an update from the Finance Department.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks to the members of City Council that's going to hear my annual report from the Finance Department. One moment while we get it up on the screen. Okay. So the first slide, that's just a breakdown of the staff that we have. There'll be more details on that. And then just the roles of the Director of Finance for the city, what we do, what type of revenue we collect, and what type of fund accounting that we handle. So that's just a short summary of what we do. There's a lot more we do. It's just, I summarized it quite a bit. The Finance Department is really essentially 4 separate offices. We have the Tax Department, as you know, that is ran by Linda Neely. And we also have accounts receivable. We have accounts payable. And then we also have the sewer revenue and the utility billing section. So there's really just 4 pieces to the wheel that's always working at all times. So on the next slide, the next slide is the accounts receivable. Sherry Rumschlag, she is the accounts receivable person. She also has a dual role as the sewer revenue manager. And then accounts payable is Anesia Gallegos. Anesia is rather new to our department. She came last December. She's doing very well. But that is the finance office separated from the tax and the sewer revenue. Sherry handles everything from grant proceeds, loan proceeds, donations, property taxes, hotel motel tax, licensing, permitting, fines and fees, ambulance receipts, bank interest on all our investments, and shelter rentals. That's just a few things that she handles. Anesia handles everything that is with the accounts payable, all our vendors. She handles the 1099s that we do every year, the NECs and the miscellaneous. So it's, you know, they're breaking their positions off, but either job could be a full-time job on any given day. So, they work really hard. They do a lot for the city. And then the main thing that they really need to do is to ensure that we follow generally accepted accounting principles and that we're following the revised code. So, and that's really what we focus on in that department. And it comes up in our audit. So we have to always maintain those generally accepted accounting principles in the revised code. The next slide is the sewer revenue office. So again, you're going to see their same names again because they're dual roles. So Sherry Rumschlag is our sewer revenue manager, and Anesia Gallegos is the finance tech for the sewer department. In that area, they do billing, they do monthly billing. Some of our residents are on even months and some are on odd months. Their billing is every 2 months. So that keeps them busy. And then the 20th of the month is when the bills are due, and they're very busy the last 2 weeks of the month. And then it starts all over again. In August, we assess our accounts. That's any accounts that are past due 90 days or longer. We assess those to the real estate taxes. So that's their busy season is actually starting. The tax office has just come off their busy season. The sewer department, their busy season is now. So they're constantly running reports, making sure things are right. And you'll see further along, Sherry does a very good job at doing an annual report for us. And she'll tell you how seamless that they really have made that assessment process. And they do a fantastic job at it. The next slide is our income tax office. Linda Neely is the tax commissioner. And then Julie Houston and Jamie Martin are the finance techs. Julie and Jamie are rather new in the department. They came on in December, the same time as Anesia. Their busy time is usually January through, June. And they're still processing income tax returns even now. And it'll go through the summer. They'll be constantly reaching out to different accountants, reaching out to our residents for more information, and setting up payment plans. They try to work as much as they can with the residents to get any past due payments brought up to date. So they're constantly working at getting everything filed. We also send past due collections to the Attorney General. And we also do court filings through the Tiffin Municipal Court as well. The finance techs, they do a lot of the behind the scenes, contacting the accountants, calling any type of taxpayers and asking, hey, can I get this form from you? We missed it. They do a lot of the back of the room information, and they do a really good job at that as well. They went to fully digital a couple years back, so all their stuff is digitized, and they're able to look up things very easily, and they maintain that very well. So it helps when they have someone on the line that needs that they can, on the phone line that, is asking questions, they just go to a click of their button on their mouse and they can look up anything you need rather than going down to the basement and digging through boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes and stuff. So they do a really good job there. We are looking forward to doing more of that in the finance office. But that was a few years ago. They've done really well with it. We have an e-file with them that happened right when the pandemic happened, and that has worked out well for us as well. It used to be the line was out the door on April 15th. Now we don't have that. I mean, we'll be lucky if we have 15 people standing in the lobby on the 15th. I mean, it's really downsized some of the traffic. So the e-file is here to stay, hopefully. So the next slide is our highlights, just really some numbers. Income tax receipts, they were up 2.75% 75% above 2024 receipts. The investment interest increased in 2025. We continue to optimize our local financial institutions and our meter investments. We play them very well off of each other. Meter investments is excellent, but we try to keep some local as well because we want to support the community. So, but we've done very well with the return on investments with our interests, our investment interests. So, and also we have an online payment option for sewer, tax, and engineering customers. For anyone that would need to pay online, they can go out to do that through the City of Tiffin website. They can come into any of our offices and pay with a card. They can also pay by e-check, only at the website. We do not really ask for the checking account information through the window or through the phone, only because we want to safeguard that taxpayers' private information. So we try to get them to do that at home on their own computer so no one's overhearing anything. And then, so again, I mentioned the e-file in there. That is working very well, and it seems like we get more and more people to file by e-file every year. And I think that's where we're going to keep going with it. Both the finance and tax employees attended training seminars in 2025. We will continue with that. I'm a big believer in that they attend the training seminars in their field. That's the only way you're going to hear of any new regulations that would be coming from the Ohio Revised Code or any changes that would come from the federal government. Is that's the only way you're going to learn that, if you go through your proper training. Again, we have the tax files in electronic format. We offer a curbside drop box for the customers if they don't want to stop in. We have that. And then we also won the Auditor of State Award in 2024. As you remember, we had Kathy come back for that. So that is our 5th time of winning that award. And hopefully we continue with that. And it does come down to those generally accepted accounting principles that we try to do everything the right way, and we have clean audits. The next one is our sewer revenue department's year-end summary report. Sherry Rumschlag prepared this for us. So our 2025 number of accounts was 8,896. That's up 1,009 accounts. So, and typically a lot of that ends to be, we have a lot of rental properties in Tiffin, so that would probably be from the increase in that. The total amount billed was $7,837,635.30. That is up about $449,000. The penalties assessed was $192,660.86. That's up a little less than $13,000. And then the number of accounts certified to the county. That's what I was talking about for August. We will certify those accounts. In 2025, it was 985, excuse me, and it was up 87 accounts that we certified. Total payments collected was $6,930,984.74. That's up about $356,000. So I noted the staffing changes, and Nessia started with that department in December 2025. She's doing very well in it. We had an increase in rates based on the city ordinance in January of 2025. Sherry says that everything is moving, the billing is flowing smoothly, and I can agree with her, excuse me. And, they concentrate on their record keeping, and they really do a good job at seeing when properties transfer from one to another, that they get the right information. And they have a very good job at doing that. Properties transfer quite a bit, so it's constantly looking at that county auditor's website and reviewing the transfers and trying to update our system as much as possible. She says the annual certification process was busy but efficient. They work, and it is true, they work year round to make this, a happen seamlessly, and they do. She works every day to make sure things move smoothly in that certification process. They have, and this is a really important one. They currently have 1,538 customers, allowing them to draw the sewer payment out of their checking or savings accounts. And, the checking accounts. That is 19 more than last year. We really strive to get that on there. It makes billing efficient, and it makes the accounts receivable efficient if we can automatically withdraw out of the checking account. And we get more and more people every year. Hopefully we get more as time moves on. The income tax department, the 2025 number of active accounts was 11,374. Let me start over. 11,374, and that's up 286 people or active accounts. They had 389 refunds last year. That equaled to be about a little less than 225,000. They also collected on past balances, 243,000. And then we also charge penalty and interest on any collected past due balances. That equaled a little less than 77,000. And then the collected on the past due accounts was 320,000. So we also, like I said before, we also file small claims in the Tiffin Municipal Court. 99 of those we filed in 2025. We collected a little less than 80,000 in unpaid taxes, penalties, and interest. Of those 99 cases, we were paid prior to the court date, which we hope that happens. And then we also had judgments in 49 cases. We also work with the Attorney General for collections. It's a fantastic way to do collections. It's free to the city of Tiffin to do that. So we also use the Attorney General when we can. We certified 25 accounts to the Attorney General in 2025. That equaled a little more than $18,511.80. We also collect from the AGO from prior years, and that was $28,207.71. That can be for 2025 and prior years for AGO. It just depends on who the taxpayer is and what year they owe for. We have 4,155 open accounts that were active in tax year 2024 that had not filed in 2025. So in those cases, we would be sending out letters to them and seeing if they had any income. So those are going to be going out rather shortly. And then we also sent out 3,207 letters from the law director, and that was for tax year 2023. That resulted in 415 delinquent prior tax year returns filed. So it is, when we send out the letters, we do get responses. It is a lot of letters that go out. We constantly try to figure out how we can save in postage. As you know, postage is going up. It seems like every 3 months. And that in my future plans later, you'll see there is some discussion on how we can kind of curtail those postage costs. Again, the next one is graphs. It just shows our tax receipts and what it looks like from 2013 through 2025. And you can see that we had the increase in 2.75%. We had a little bit over of $13.3 million in income tax receipts. In the breakdown of the income tax distribution, some goes to capital improvements. That's 1.1 million. And then the road and bridges, that's from that road and bridge levy. That goes to Fund 215. That's a little over 1.6 million. It also lists our income tax refunds that I said earlier. And then also the general fund transfers and advances, that was 4.1 million. the accounts payable department. That one, we stayed rather consistent as far as our active vendors. In 2025, we just really went up one vendor, 574 vendors altogether. We did have a decent increase in purchase orders. We had 1,265 purchase orders. That's about 91 more than we had in 2024. The checks processed, we were down from 2024, but with the ACH payments processed, we were up by 50. Our goal is to process less checks and pay through ACH more. When we pay through ACH, we get our vendors' account information. We pay that way through our bank. It's the safest way to do that. Many industry professionals would say that it's safer to pay via ACH than a check anymore with the amounts of fraudulent counterfeit checks that happen. It's better to have it that way. So we are pushing further and further into doing ACH payments to our vendors. We would like to go further into that. And it saves in the postage again. So we're constantly always looking at the costs and seeing how expensive things are. And the postage for us is one of our higher expenses that we have. So we're looking to lower that as much as we can. Future plans, I'm a goal person. I like to have goals. So I have several goals for 2026 that I'm looking to do. So the first thing on our 2026 goals is we're going to be moving to a new credit card payment processor. We're currently working in that right now. I look for that to happen in third quarter 2026. We're up and running. We just are working little kinks out of everything, but I anticipate it being within the next month. We will be up and running. Our taxpayers won't be seeing anything different other than, the payment processing screen may look a little different, but you will still be able to access it through our website. So hopefully it's seamless. We won't have too much problems. We transitioned the accounts payable department. We were processing checks once a week. Now it's twice a week. We did this to improve efficiency, and I think it's working out very well. Of course, if we need to add more days, we will do that. But right now, twice a week seems like it's working very well. We are planning to convert paper files to electronic for accounts payable. They're our first department that we're, other than tax, who's been on it for a few years. We look to convert things electronically for accounts payable as much as we can. This will enhance job performance and also assist in our annual audit process and preparation. So that is on our agenda. I think that's probably going to start this week, honestly, because I think Anesia, our accounts payable tech, is ready to go. So again, expand ACH remittance on our accounts payable. It'll save money with printing less checks and postage used. Again, I push for more annual training with our staff, so we will do that again. The tax office, they usually are in July, and the accounts payable, accounts receivable, and sewer and utility is in October. So they do this every year, but we will continue that into 2026. I have on the list for an option for remote deposit capture with our bank. This is a digital banking service that would allow us to deposit the checks via scanner right in our office. We would not be taking any checks to the bank. And for this, there would be no physical interaction with the bank. It would be all done through the scanning process through this desktop scanner. This is beneficial to our sewer department and our tax department. predominantly our sewer department. They just get a lot of checks in. So it would be most likely be implemented in 2027, but we're going to be looking at it more closely in 2026 to see if there's any hardware or support that would need to implement before then. But it would help with time and improve cash flow, and also make it more seamless when we deposit the checks. Expand cross-training through all 4 departments. That is already happening. I'm believe in cross-training as much as we can. So we can, if someone is out, we can still provide great customer service. In 2027, again, we're gonna expand to more electronic formats and accounts receivable. And again, staff would be attending their annual training. We plan my ultimate goal is to implement remote deposit capture. And then also we are transitioning to LexisNexis for a search engine. This will help us in our postage. We will be able to find people. If people change addresses, we will be able to see that. At this point, when someone changes their address, it's after we sent the letter and we get the notice back from the post office. So with LexisNexis, we would be able to find this out before it even gets in the mail. So it would save in that postage cost. And again, continue to cross-train as much as possible. 2028, I look to have a lot of our paper downsized to an electronic format. And then also review the software that we have for our fund accounting and our tax software, just to see if there's any updates or changes that are needed to suit our business needs. Right now, both of them are working very well for us, so we don't intend to switch to anything new, but it's always good to review what you have and see if we can make our lives better and our jobs better. So review the e-file processing to ensure that it's suiting our business needs. Right now, the e-file is suiting our business needs. Can we find a better alternative that is user-friendly and makes life easier for our constituents and our staff? That's a possibility, but that won't be until 2028. And I believe that concludes my report.
Oh, thank you, Jill.
Yep.
Very enlightening. I did take notes. You asked me if I wanted. So,
Well, it's good.
yeah, so thank you for that. I like that you had some direction that's you're going to be going in the next couple of years to get things more streamlined and so more efficient. So thank you for.
Great report, Linda.
Thank you.
Is there any, I looked in the future, is there any paperless billing coming down the stream for sewer, and would there be a incentive for the customers to? It's probably, like, I imagine it's probably somewhere in the neighborhood $1.50 per bill with postage and paper and all that. You could say give them 50 cents off or something like that.
We looked at a cloud version, I believe, of our software that we would be able to do the paperless billing. We do have a lot of rental properties, and so those properties get 2 billings for the owner of the property and the person that rents it. So in that case, we couldn't, if one wanted to do paper and the other one wanted to do paperless, we couldn't do that.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I've been told. So, we're looking for better options, because that really would be something. And then the same in the tax department, we do quarterly tax statements, and we're sending those out too. And a lot of taxpayers has asked, can I just get that emailed to me, or can I just, I don't want the paper. And we are unable to do that as well. So that really is looking at our systems and seeing, are they working for us? You know what I mean? And eventually I'd like to get to that where we can we can email those, and because that's where everyone's going. They want email, you know, and they don't want the paper copy. I don't get paper at home. So yeah, that would be great if we could go to that, you know. So that's just really looking at those softwares and talking with our support and seeing what they can offer us.
Perfect.
So I'm hoping.
Thank you, Jill. Thank you, Jill.
Thank you, Jill. I do have a question for you. I can't see you.
Hi.
So how would a resident get their sewer payment to come out of their checking account? What is the process for that?
There is a form that they have to fill out. And I believe they have to provide a copy of a voided check. But if they want one, all they would have to do is call the sewer office, and we would get them. We'd either have them come in and sign the form and give us a voided check, or we could mail it to them. So, and once that's on, I think it takes one billing cycle, and then they're ready to go. And it just automatically comes out on that 20th of the month, whether they're an even or an odd month, it automatically comes out. You still get a bill, you know, you still get the notification that, hey, this is the amount, and it's coming out of your account on the 20th. But, you know, you don't have to write the check, and it is much more efficient for us if we can do it that way.
Well, I'll be coming down to get
Okay.
one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Yeah. Got one.
Well, thank you very much, Jill. That was very good.
Thank you.
And we're still in the mayor's report.
Go for it.
And I have one more introduction here, Nick Ducro, to report on our new stormwater requirements.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Council President. So the last couple of weeks, we have had updates from the city engineer, superintendents of the Water Pollution Control Center and Public Works Department, all of which have mentioned briefly our stormwater management program. I'm here, as the mayor had said, to discuss some changes to the permit that is coming up. So just to talk about our current permit and to provide some background, municipalities or municipal governments really of any size, and what we refer to as a municipal separate storm sewer system. So it's an MS4 is what the permit is, or what the community is. You know, the short answer is that any municipality, any subdivision is going to have a certain amount of pollutants that you find on surfaces such as parking lots, rooftops, sidewalks, streets, driveways, etc. Essentially, those pollutants will sit on those impervious surfaces until you have a rainwater event or a stormwater event of some kind. They will eventually go into your storm sewers and make their way to your body of water. For us, obviously, the Sandusky River, which then will go into eventually Lake Erie. Some of the common pollutants that you would have, you know, anything from pesticides, fertilizers, oils, road salt, vehicle fluid, debris, sediment. And then there are additional concerns such as illicit discharges. You know, there we're talking about sewage or dumping of waste materials that may be going into storm drains. Left uncontrolled, these discharges can cause fish kills, destruction of aquatic habitat, loss of a surface water's aesthetic value, and contamination of drinking water supplies and recreational waterways. So in response to this, the Federal Water Pollution Control Act, the Clean Water Act, was set up by Congress to address these pollutants to our waters, and essentially states that any unlawful discharge is, or any discharge that is, without what is called a National Pollutant Discharge Elimination Systems Permit, NPDES. Anything that's discharged without a permit is unlawful. Furthermore, in 1987, there was an amendment to the Clean Water Act that essentially put in that that required those permits for any stormwater discharges, the purpose of which, when it comes to a small MS4 such as ourselves, is to ensure that those are in compliance with state and federal regulations. In the city of Tiffin, City Council graciously worked with us in administration in 2019 to approve our stormwater management regulations. These establish consistent, technically feasible, and operationally practical standards to achieve a level of stormwater management that minimizes damage to public and private property and the degradation of water resources, and promotes and maintains the health, safety, and welfare of the residents of the city of Tiffin. This program is overseen by the city engineer's office in conjunction with my office, Public Works Department, Water Pollution Control Center, and the Parks Department. All existing and future developments are required to comply with the regulations that council put into place. Any developer with their proposed construction activities must be compliant with our stormwater management program, Chapter 909 of the Codified Ordinances, and the city's Public Works Design Manual. To achieve that, we have 6 minimum control measures. MCMs is the shorthand for those. They are broken down as public education and outreach, public participation and involvement, illicit discharge detection and elimination, construction site runoff control, post-construction stormwater management, and pollution prevention and good housekeeping. So the first 2 are handled by my office, the public education and outreach. To meet the criterias or the requirements therein, we produce press releases that go out to the local media. They get posted on the city's website and social media. And they explain a lot of the best practices, including how to handle grass clippings, leaf pickup. We've had information on illicit discharges, pool dewatering, pet waste collection, and then we provide pamphlets in the city engineer's office, at Water Pollution Control, and at Public Works, and have some education materials also on our website that people can see in regard to that. That second MCM, the public participation involvement, this is programs that the city provides. Those include street sweeping and leaf collection that we do every year. The mutt-mitt dog waste containers that you see, those bags that people can use to pick up their pets, and things like the curbside recycling service. All of these are activities that keep debris and contaminants out of our catch basins, out of our storm sewers, and overall out of the river. Cleanup events such as the Downtown Litter League, the Oakley Park Cleanup, and the Sandusky River Clean Sweep all encourage the community to come out and collect trash and other pollutants that could be destined for the river. And finally, our Arbor Day event, you would think it's just about trees, but trees provide a major asset in helping to contribute to stormwater management. It's really great when we get the kids out there and can explain to them how planting a tree helps in the overall beautification and survival of our resources. MCM 3, the illicit discharge detection and elimination, that is handled by the Public Works Department. Essentially, it's a program to detect and eliminate cross-contaminations, dumping of wastes, and other non-stormwater discharges. So the city council's approval of our stormwater management regulations highlights the laws regarding enforcement, violation, and penalties. So all of which we have on the book, and I appreciate that council came together to get those accomplished. The city engineer's office and Public Works also have established a GIS mapping system that shows where our current sanitary and storm sewer connections are. Highly important in knowing what our system looks like. Apologies. As we look at that, right now, in 2014 or 2024, excuse me, we actually had a project that eliminated 18 septic systems from the city. There are still a few homes that are on septic, but largely that is done away with, which overall just ensures that we don't have pollutants. We don't have those entering that discharge entering the groundwater, which is, on balance, a good thing. The next section, construction site runoff and control. This program is required for any construction site that disturbs an acre or more of land or a project that's part of a single project that's part of an overall project that again hits that acre or more of space. So the city engineer's office completed 251 site inspections in 2025. Again, 251 just in that 1 year, that ensures that sites are compliant with our local ordinances regarding runoff. From those inspections, we did have 4 violations noted last year, though we had 19 verbal corrections that were given and taken care of within a week's time. So for the majority of those developers, they are working with the city, and we appreciate that. There are currently 8 active permits, 2 of which the city engineers office is conducting the inspections on, and there are 4 more planned projects this year that we expect. Going into number 5, this is the, number 5 there, post-construction stormwater management, also from the engineer's office. There are 10 public and 44 private stormwater facilities that are inspected by third-party consultant or the city engineer staff. So our city engineer also does these post-construction inspections as well as prior to. We do collect fees on those when we do a post-construction project. Typically, our fees are fairly low, but it's one, it's one service that we do offer for those projects. Following completion of a construction project, inspection and maintenance agreements are entered into with property owners to ensure compliance and the city's right to access property. So even in those cases where a third party is handling the inspections, we still have certain rights, and within the permit period do need to do an inspection of those. So having those agreements in place with properties is important. There are currently 9 active construction sites which will be implementing post-construction agreements at the conclusion of their projects. So we expect those to be happening here very shortly. And then finally, that last pollution prevention and good housekeeping, this also handled by the superintendent of the Public Works Department. To meet those requirements, Public Works, the Water Pollution Control Center, the City Engineers Department employees, even including myself at times, we take part in annual training for stormwater management. Public Works employees also, again, clean catch basins, run the street sweeper to keep those pollutants out of our storm sewers, and every year receive training on proper de-icing techniques. So how best to use salt and, again, make sure that when we are clearing the streets, we're not just pushing pollutants into our roadways. Into our storm sewers, that is. City's also required to have a storm sewer prevention plans for our facilities. So yes, we inspect those private developments, but also for our facilities, we also have requirements that we are required to do, and make sure that we are also following best practices. So looking into next steps, where we go from here. So I had sent out to council, actually I believe earlier today, copies of the new draft for the new permit. So our current permit was issued and effective on April 1st of 2021 and expired on March 31st, 2026. That doesn't mean that we're behind. We are currently now in the draft period for this new MPDS permit. Like I said, the draft of the general permit was sent out to all council members, so you can kind of compare and contrast that. That will be issued as a final action after the public comment period ends, and that is August 4th of 2026. So that is coming up. Following that, the city will apply for a new permit with the EPA. So in addition to just the general changes, we also have some new requirements. So the Sandusky River and the Sandusky Bay tributaries have been labeled as a total maximum daily load projects. TMDL is the acronym. They really love their acronyms when it comes to this, that are to address the following pollutants: total phosphorus, nitrate and nitrite, total suspended solids, and sediment. So therefore, we will be, as well as the steps that we already provide in those MCM ones, and are every year as we file our permit, we have some new requirements that go along with those. So for instance, and I guess I do want to back up and just say there's a good news story here. So maybe this screen not as much, but you're going to notice in many of these, we are meeting a lot of the new requirements already. So we have made a lot of efforts to have a good, robust stormwater management program. And by doing so, again, many of the requirements that are coming up, we're actually hitting many of those. The ones that we aren't, as I'll talk about here with just this slide, are because we were not required to have the information about the new pollutants. So as we file our next reports, we'll have to address those. But for our draft permit for the MCM1, new requirements, as well as what we had previously, we need to use more than one outreach mechanism. We are doing so. So that is not going to be hard for us to continue doing. We do need to have a minimum of 5 messages per permit over the permit term. We are already hitting that already. However, one of the themes needs to target residential and commercial or institutional facilities on proper salt storage. We haven't done that in our education so far, so we will need to create messaging around that, which we will do so. Our stormwater public education and outreach program needs to hit 50% of our population over the permit term. That one will take a little bit of work, and we're looking at some options on how we best achieve that. We have some decent data on how far we're penetrating with social media, but that's always a moving target. So we're looking at some ways to better make sure that we are going to hit that. So that will require a little bit of work on our end, but I don't have concerns about that necessarily. Again, another thing that we need to do is make sure that when reaching out about our program, we target those pollutants that were identified in our permit, those pollutants that I mentioned earlier. Again, we're going to be working on that for future messaging. The reason we haven't hit that yet, again, is because that was just, we weren't focused on those pollutants necessarily. So that will be part of our future messaging. And then finally, we need to, in our annual report, identify each mechanism used, the theme, the target pollutants. Again, we're already filing those annual reports. It's just a matter of identifying those activities for the future. For MCM2, again, 5 public involvement activities over the permit term. We've already hit that. We will continue to have multiple events every year to hit those required activities. So something we're already doing. Stormwater education and outreach program should target those pollutants identified. Again, it's just a matter of making sure that we include that in our future messaging. So we're already getting information out there. It's just adding that to it. And finally, like I said, similar to previously, when we file a report, make sure that we're including information about those target pollutants. When we file their annual reports, we'll be doing so. Good news here, the third MCM, again, a lot of these things we're already taking care of. As you can see there, we are hitting most of those goals. I'll just touch on a couple of these. Data collected each year shall be evaluated, and priorities and goals shall be revised annually based on the evaluation. We do that annually. Storm sewer map shall be updated annually. We take care of that. And then for our renewals, identifying those dry weather screenings, taking care of reports that are needed. We're taking care of all those things already. So we're well ahead of the game on the illicit discharge section there. MCM number 4, this will require some acts of council to help with. So one of the items here is that ordinances shall be revised to meet the technical requirements set forth in the next MPDS permit. Again, we will need to update our ordinance at that time. We have a year after the permit approval to do so. So we're not under the gun necessarily, but just know that that's something that we'll be working with the law director on to make sure we do that. The next one is pre-construction review and approval of all projects before construction starts. This is a section, we are doing that now. There will be a slight change, which is that whenever there are compliance issues, we need to increase the number of inspections from once a month to once every 14 days. So we'll handle that as necessary, but we are already meeting the requirement there. So feel very good about that. Number 5, also, again, will require some action from council. So, again, ordinances need to be revised to meet the requirements set forth in that permit. Again, we'll be coming to council to get that done. A number of items on here we are hitting, but one thing in particular is that we will have to perform a program within the permit period. And this may require some funding from council. So on your screen there, you'll see a couple of items that are brought up. We can retrofit a existing stormwater program or practice. We can, restore up to 300 linear feet of channelization stream. There's updating our ordinances and another one to install practices that would, again, treat a minimum of 1 acre of existing impervious area. We don't have a project yet, but basically we need to perform a project that meets the new requirements. So when that is identified, which we'll be working on through this permit period, again, we will likely have to come to council to request funding for that when that's the case. I don't know how much that will be. I don't know, again, what that project is going to look like. So more to come on that, but that is an area where, again, we'll be coming to council for some assistance. And then finally, on number 6, good housekeeping programs, as well as some other things. We are meeting a lot of the requests there. Develop and implement a street sweeping program. We're already doing that. Develop and implement a catch basin cleaning program, already doing that. Develop and implement a yard waste and leaf collection program, already doing those things. So feel very good about that. Some more things that we may come back with, one of which is having a education program for developers. We're looking at what our options are going to be on that. So that's it's not necessarily one of the requirements, but a best practice. So trying to look at some options there on how we can potentially do that. Also, probably looking at some more presentations like this or with those other department heads to update council annually on what we're doing for stormwater. Again, it's not necessarily a requirement, but it's a best practice, and we want to make sure that we're following up with those things. So expect to hear more about our stormwater program in the coming years as we have this new permit. We will have more touches with council on that. Finally, I do want to bring up concurrent to the renewal of our permit. We're also renewing the permit for the Water Pollution Control Center. It just happens that they fit in the same time there. Right now, we don't know what the future of that holds. We did receive some early information that we may be upgrading from what is considered a Category 3 facility to a Category 4. That has not been determined if that's the case yet. Although I will add that, and I appreciate that he's doing this, Kevin Hughes is starting the process to update his license from a Class 3 operator to a Class 4. So that will take a little bit of time for him to go through the requirements to do so. I think it's worthwhile, even if we don't end up changing our category for the Water Pollution Control Center. It's great that he's ready and willing to do that. So more on that to come as well, and we'll be sure to keep council updated if that changes for the draft permit for the Water Pollution Control Center. So with that, I know it was a lot of information. I appreciate everyone's time in listening to that. Again, we wanted to make sure council was well aware, because there will be some things that we do need to view as we move forward. And like I said, that comment period for the current permit is coming up soon here. So after that, we'll have some changes that will be coming our way. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you very much, Nick. Just a couple things to add to that, just really two things. Don't pour your unused paint down the storm drain. Don't do that. And then don't shoot your grass clippings out into the street because they go down the storm drain. I know. It's not good for motorcyclists either. All right, so after all of that, that concludes my report.
Very good. Thank you all. We are on to Clerk of Council Ann Forrest.
No report, Mr. President.
Thank you. Director of Finance Jill Lindhorst.
Thank you, Mr. President. I do have a request for legislation tonight. It's to amend the 2026 Budget Ordinance 25-98 to appropriate funds into the General Capital Improvement Fund. This is for $17,382.76 to the Police Department for 2 refund checks received for LPR cameras that were not utilized. I also have an announcement. The tax department will be closed this week, Wednesday, July 8th through July 10th. Just to let the public know that that office will be closed. They will be attending their annual training in Columbus. So that is why that is closed. That concludes my report.
Great, thank you. Director of Law Zachary Fowler.
No report.
Very good, thank you. We're now on to written communications.
Excuse me, Mayor's request for legislation number 26-28, authorization to issue a request for proposal, RFP, for the sale and development of city-owned real estate adjacent to City Lock 6.
Thank you. Mayor's request for legislation 26-28 will be the topic of a committee of the whole meeting on July 20th at 6 p.m.
Mayor's request for legislation number 26-29, approval of federal grants compliance study.
Mayor's request for legislation 26-29 is assigned to the Finance Committee.
Policy. Okay. Mayor's request for legislation number 26-30, stormwater easement.
Mayor's request for legislation number 26-30 is assigned to the Street, Sidewalks, and Sewers Committee.
Finance Director's request for legislation number F26-15 to amend the 2026 Budget Ordinance number 25-98 to appropriate funds in the General Capital Improvement Fund.
Finance Director's request for legislation number F26-15 is prepared tonight as ordinance 2026-48.
And then we have a letter from Heavenly Pizza Gives Back, thanking council for their support of the Heavenly Park and selecting the project for the 2026 CDBG funding.
Great, that note will be held on file.
That concludes the written communications.
Thank you. We're now under oral communications. Anyone wishing to address council may step up and direct their questions to myself. There are none. We are now under motions. Are there any motions this evening? Okay, seeing none, we are now under resolutions and ordinances.
Tonight, we have no resolutions. We have ordinance 2026-37, introduced by John Hayes, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to negotiate, accept, and enter into a sanitary sewer easement with Trilogy Real Estate Tiffin LLC.
Thank you. This is the third reading of ordinance 2026-37. Councilmember Reesner.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for passage of ordinance 2026-37.
Okay, there is a motion for passage of ordinance 2026-37. Is there a second? Councilmember Dougherty.
I'd like to second that motion.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing none, I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
Reesner.
Yes.
Snee.
Yes.
Dougherty.
Yes.
Decker.
Yes.
Hayes.
Yes.
And Horniman.
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance 2026-37 passes with a vote of 7-0.
Ordinance number 2026-41, introduced by Kevin Reesner. An ordinance adopting a tax budget for fiscal year 2027, directing the Director of Finance to deliver the budget to the Seneca County Auditor and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. This is the third reading of ordinance 2026-41. Councilmember Reesner.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd move for passage of ordinance 2026-41.
There's a motion for passage. Is there a second? Councilmember Horniman.
I'll second that motion, Mr. President.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing none, I will first ask the clerk to call the roll on the emergency.
Councilmember Jones,
Yes.
Reesner,
Yes.
Snee,
Yes.
Dougherty,
Yes.
Decker,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
and Horniman.
Yes.
Thank you. The emergency passes 7-0. Now ask the clerk to call the roll on the vote.
Councilmember Jones,
Yes.
Reesner,
Yes.
Snee,
Yes.
Dougherty,
Yes.
Decker,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
and Horniman.
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance 2026-41 passes with a vote of 7-0.
Ordinance number 2026-43, introduced by Kyle Dougherty, an ordinance declaring improvements to a certain parcel of real property to be a public purpose and exempt from taxation, describing the public improvements to be made to directly benefit such parcel, requiring the owner of the improvements on such parcel to make service payments in lieu of taxes, establishing a municipal public improvement tax increment equivalent fund for the deposit of such service payments and related authorizations pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, Section 5709.40, 5709.42, and 5709.43, and declaring an emergency.
This is the second reading of ordinance 2026-43.
Ordinance number 2026-45, introduced by John Hayes, an ordinance authorizing an agreement with the Ohio Department of Transportation and the procurement of construction services for the West Market Street and Teakwood Drive Traffic Signal Improvement Project, establishing and renaming certain funds, amending the 2026 budget ordinance, and declaring an emergency.
This is the first reading of ordinance 2026-45. Councilmember Reesner.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for immediate passage of ordinance 2026-45, suspending city council's reading rule.
Okay, there's a motion for immediate passage of ordinance 2026-45. Is there a second? Councilmember Snee.
Yes, I'd like to second that motion.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing none, we will first vote on the suspension.
Councilmember Jones,
Yes.
Reesner,
Yes.
Snee,
Yes.
Dougherty,
Yes.
Decker,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
and Horniman.
Yes.
Okay, the suspension passes with a vote of 7-0. We will now vote on the emergency.
Councilmember Jones,
Yes.
Reesner,
Yes.
Snee,
Yes.
Dougherty,
Yes.
Decker,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
and Horniman.
Yes.
The emergency passes with a vote of 7-0. We will now vote on the passage.
Councilmember Jones,
Yes.
Reesner,
Yes.
Snee,
Yes.
Dougherty,
Yes.
Decker,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
and Horniman.
Yes.
Ordinance 2026-45 passes with a vote of 7-0.
Ordinance number 2026-46, introduced by Ashley Decker, an ordinance repealing section 143.07 of the codified ordinances of the city of Tiffin, Ohio, eliminating the Fire Rescue Division residency requirement and renumbering the remaining sections of chapter 143 accordingly.
This is the first reading of ordinance 2026-46.
Ordinance number 2026-47, introduced by John Hayes, an ordinance authorizing and directing the city administrator to prepare plans and specifications, advertise for and receive bids, recommend and execute a contract for the construction of the Shawn Avenue and Second Avenue Sewer Replacement Project, and declaring an emergency.
This is the first reading of ordinance 2026-47. Councilmember Reesner.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for immediate passage of ordinance 2026-47, suspending city council's reading rule.
There's a motion for immediate passage of ordinance 2026-47. Is there a second? Councilmember Jones.
I second that motion, Mr.
The
President.
motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Councilmember Reesner.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is for a sewer replacement project, and there's a $150,000 grant involved. So this passing this sooner allows us to meet the grant deadline.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, we will first vote on the suspension.
Councilmember Jones,
Yes.
Reesner,
Yes.
Snee,
Yes.
Dougherty,
Yes.
Decker,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
and Horniman.
Yes.
Okay, the suspension passes with a vote of 7-0. We will now vote on the emergency.
Councilmember Jones,
Yes.
Reesner,
Yes.
Snee,
Yes.
Dougherty,
Yes.
Decker,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
and Horniman.
Yes.
Okay, the emergency passes with a vote of 7-0. We'll now vote on the passage.
Councilmember Jones,
Yes.
Reesner,
Yes.
Snee,
Yes.
Dougherty,
Yes.
Decker,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
and Horniman.
Yes.
Ordinance 2026-47 passes with a vote of 7-0.
Ordinance number 2026-48, introduced by Kevin Reesner. An ordinance amending the 2026 budget ordinance 2025-98 to appropriate funds into the General Capital Improvement Fund.
This is the first reading of ordinance 2026-48. Councilmember Reesner.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for immediate passage of ordinance 2026-48, suspending city council's reading rule.
Okay, there's a motion for immediate passage of ordinance 2026-48. Is there a second? Councilmember Jones.
I'll second that motion, Mr. President.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Councilmember Reesner.
Yeah, this is since this is a refund, we're not spending money here, we're getting money back. So I figured, let's go ahead and suspend it, get the money, start making some interest on it.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, I will ask the clerk to call a roll on the suspension.
Councilmember Jones,
Yes.
Reesner,
Yes.
Snee,
Yes.
Dougherty,
Yes.
Decker,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
and Horniman.
Yes.
The suspension passes with a vote of 7-0. We'll now vote on the passage.
Councilmember Jones,
Yes.
Reesner,
Yes.
Snee,
Yes.
Dougherty,
Yes.
Decker,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
and Horniman.
Yes.
And that concludes the legislation, Mr. President.
Thank you. We are now under other business. Is there any other business? Councilmember Reesner.
Thank you, Mr. President. There's a mayor's request for legislation 26-29 got assigned to the Finance Committee. Who's on the Finance? I know you're on there, Aaron.
I'm on there.
And is it Kyle is the other on the Finance Committee?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I am.
Yeah, so, but with you being out, it'll just be, I think, us, right?
Correct.
So we got our quorum. I don't know, did you get a chance to look at it's a letter from the mayor about federal grants, just to make a policy, for auditing. Does that look like something we want to meet on, or do you think
I don't know that we need to be honest with you. It's just basically taking the federal guidelines and applying them to us.
yeah, I was kind of thinking that too. So unless the law director needs anything else, or the mayor would like to have an extra meeting, or so I'll go ahead and just ask the law director to draft legislation based off that request, if possible here.
Okay. There is also a street sidewalks and sewers piece of legislation assigned to us. I would like to meet on this. I'd like to meet next Monday if that works with all associated parties. Okay, very good. So I'll announce a street sidewalks and sewers meeting next Monday, July 13th at 5:15 PM in council chambers to discuss mayor's request for legislation 26-30 and any other business that comes before our committee.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other business this evening? Nick.
Yes, thank you, Council President. I know that folks want to get going. Sorry, Law Director. There's a soccer match.
We've been streaming it up here the whole time.
I did want to update council. You all may remember that I believe it's almost 2 years ago, council had approved for the sale of the former Louisa K. Fast Park. It is to refresh those of you, we own parkland that is just less than 4 acres on the east side of town. We recently have renamed that Tiffin East Park. And it was part of the federal land to parks program through the National Park Service. And then the GSA has been involved in our decision to sell that property as it is not needed by the city. Actually just sits outside city limits, but the park, the land has really only been a maintenance burden for us and not really used as a park. We did get word last week that the National Park Service has agreed to our decision to revert that land back to the federal government to be sold. So that was one kind of last hurdle we had in that process. It's taken a couple of years with change in federal administration. There's been a lot of changes at the Park Service and at the GSA. I've gone through a number of people that I've worked with at both departments since we started this project. So they are now ready to get that on the market. We'll have a formal letter from National Park Service when that comes. I will share that with council, but I do expect that will be sold by the GSA, or at least go to sale by the GSA here in the coming months. They wanted to do that before the end of the summer. So hoping that gets taken care of and the park is able to find someone who can appreciate that land that has been underutilized. So it'll be good news for us. And as you all may recall, I'm very happy to say that we've also renamed one of our other parks to honor Louisa K. Fast, so we continue her memory through one of the other parks, which we've done some beautiful updates to here in the past year. So all good news, I think, all around for us. So again, wanted to make sure you were all aware of that. I know it's been a while since we've last talked about that project, so hopefully coming up on getting that resolved.
When it's posted for sale, will it be on a website? Or?
Yeah, the GSA is going to be doing an online auction for that, and when that occurs, I will be sure to inform council of that.
I'm just curious how much it's going to go for.
Yeah. They didn't like the number that we initially found for what we thought it was worth, so we'll see if they can actually get that amount that they believe it might be worth. So we'll see.
Very good. Anything else this evening? Okay, we will adjourn. Thank you.